You're listening to Barbell Logic, brought to you by Barbell Logic Online Coaching, where each week we take a systematic walk through strength training and the refining power of voluntary hardship.
Hey, welcome to the Barbell Logic podcast. I'm Scott Hambrick, and that over there is with the funky eye. He looks like a
face for radio over here.
Yeah, he looks like a flounder. You know how they get mature, they like start swimming on their side. That one eye migrates the other side of their head. That's what Matt Reynolds looks like right now. That's what Matt Reynolds looks like.
Thanks,
right
dude.
now. It's all right. It's working for you.
It's all right.
It's working for you.
I've been taking these super hot showers like 3 times a day and just blasting my eyeball with steamy water.
Yeah,
but to no avail.
No, it's not going to work. You're going to have to do a mercury rinse.
What?
Mercury or polonium rinse or something like that.
Is that what they did back in the olden days?
I have no idea. I'm just making shit up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
My brother and I were wrestling once, and we broke a mercury thermometer. Yeah, I was probably in the 5th grade, and then we spent the rest of the afternoon playing with the mercury in our hand. It was fun.
Yeah.
You know, the surface tension on mercury is quite interesting. Let's answer some questions. By the way, did you see the troll question we got today?
What's that?
About nipples. We got a troll. We got an anonymous question about nipples. And
where did that come in at?
I could have sworn it was on the it's not a... Okay.
Adrian, anonymous, says, I enjoyed the podcast very much. It's helped me a lot. I wish to remain anonymous. Thank you. It says, does oxytocin, prolactin, or some other effect of nipple stimulation defeat gains? If so, is the effect more on the upper body? Is this answer different for women? And he says, keep her moving, Adrian. Oh my gosh.
We've been watching. We've been babysitting. There's a baby in our church. A family that's close to ours, a young couple. It's their first kid. And I actually really like this baby. It's the first kind of experience I've had where I'm kind of like, it's a little taste of grandfatherhood. This kid's super cute, this little girl, she's super cute. And she's like 2 months old. She's this little baby, and it's fun to hold. And, you know, it's not mine, so I get to give her back. But I told the mom at church Sunday that I've been working my nipples a little bit to try to, just in case I need to step in.
Right.
I'm trying to get them lactating. No luck so far, but I don't know. Maybe Adrian could fill me in on.
Well, what Adrian, he completely misunderstands apparently, because we've been talking about GOMAD for a long time. If you could produce a gallon of milk a day, you will be astounded at the gains you'll make.
That's true.
GOMAD, that's what it's about. It's milk. No,
you would look like Robert Paulson from Fight Club.
I have no idea about this.
Do you think that's a troll question, or do you think that's real?
It's brilliant. Whether it's real or a troll question, it's brilliant.
It is a
Does oxytocin, prolactin, or some other effect of nipple stimulation defeat gains?
Here's what I'm
aware of.
There are things in this world that that I will give up to be stronger, and nipple stimulation is not one of those. I'm not giving that up.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Mine are pretty calloused. It doesn't really go anywhere for me.
Is that from the overalls?
Mm-hmm.
What's that from?
Yeah, let's go with overalls.
Okay, deal. All right, let's go. Let's do a real question. Thank you for that, Adrian. I got a good laugh out of that today.
Chris says, thanks for all the helpful information. He's been listening for 6 months and is about caught up with all of our shows. Oh, look at this. What a guy. He says, here's the problem I'm having with a couple of obvious questions, which I have highlighted in yellow, in case I want to skip the backstory. But the backstory is his left shoulder, elbow, and sometimes even bicep over the last few weeks been incredibly painful during the bench press. He's 29, 191 pounds, 5'10". He's gained 10 pounds in the last month.
Okay.
And his goal is to get to 200 over 200 in the next 4 weeks or so. He squatted 340 for 3x5.
Good. About right.
He's pulled 380 for 2 doubles. Okay. Bench 2x5 at 275, and his press is at 170 for 3x5, which is mighty fine.
Yeah, all those numbers are good, man. Great
He
job.
says, I know there is obviously very little you can tell me about why this may be happening without seeing my lifts, but my main question is, if this indeed does sound like tendonitis, what is the best way to deal with that?
Yeah, it probably is tendonitis. There's really only two things it can be. In the elbow, it's tendonitis, almost certainly. In the shoulder, it could be proximal bicep tendonitis, which happens often. And I actually just
Don't
had
like
a
that
conversation with, say what?
I don't like that one.
No, that's not fun. I had a conversation with Darren Deaton. I talked to with Diamond Darren Deaton for about 20 minutes the other night on the phone about this very thing, trying to figure out how do we know if it's proximal bicep tendonitis or if it's shoulder impingement, right? So if you feel the bony outside of your shoulder, that bony portion is the acromion, and your upper arm is your humerus, and lots of stuff goes between the humerus and the acromion and can be impinged there. The supraspinatus goes through there, the infraspinatus goes through there. One of the teres major, I think, goes through there. And of course the labrum's there. And so there's all sorts of stuff, soft tissue that get impinged there, but also the bicep, most people, hopefully our listeners know, but most people don't realize that the bicep doesn't just cross the elbow and make the elbow go into flexion, but it also creates shoulder flexion. And so Darren does a handful of tests, but one of the telltale signs is if you chin and it hurts, it's almost always proximal bicep tendonitis.
I'm pointing at it. Is this where that hurts?
Yeah, on the front of your shoulder, what we call the anterior, right? And often it's anterior, and sometimes anterior superior even. It's real high on the shoulder, but it's always on that anterior front side. If it's impingement, it often feels like it could be in the exact same spot. That's what makes it hard. It kind of feels like it's deeper in the shoulder capsule, and often chin-ups don't make it hurt.
And it's higher on the shoulder.
Bench press tends to make it hurt worse, and squat tends to make it hurt worse. And then it also sort of gets exacerbated a little bit by the press sometimes. And if that's the case, then we really have to go through that anti-inflammatory routine. I talked to Darren a lot about it. It's not a massive difference in the way we treat it. We can treat it both systemically with anti-inflammatories with the kind of ibuprofen Tylenol protocol. Tylenol is not an anti-inflammatory, but it works pretty well with ibuprofen. And you can take 1,600 milligrams to whatever it is, 2,400 milligrams a day of ibuprofen, and you can kind of alternate that with Tylenol. You can use DMSO or Voltaren gel. And Voltaren gel is a topical anti-inflammatory, and the Voltaren gel, the transdermal in Voltaren gel is DMSO, it's also DMSO, which is also an anti-inflammatory. And then ice really seems to help, man, with anti-inflammatory. Ice gets a bad rap, but ice seems to help with that inflammation. And so what we want to do is avoid things that cause that problem. So for this guy, the first thing that we kind of do is when you find the lift that makes it hurt, and you try to adjust that lift a little bit in maybe reducing the range of motion or the speed or some of those things in order to make it not hurt as much and keep the pain scale under 3. What we don't like to do very much is actually change a lot about the lift.
I've had these dudes go to slingshot only for a while because I think
I love the slingshot for that.
I think it's the bottom of the bench press that fires that thing up more than the top, than the lockout, of course. And if you don't have a slingshot, you could just do pin bench presses, something like that, or board presses that can. Or you know what? Would it be the worst thing in the world to just not bench for a week or so?
No, or even Darren said close grip bench presses seem to work really well and they tend to not bother that spot.
Yeah.
And so that could be one of those things as well. So those are all good. But then here's the other thing I think that a lot of people miss, Scott, that you and I know is that I think the culprit is often the squat as often as it's the bench press.
Oh.
And that the bench press ends up sort of really exacerbating the problem, but the squat is the cause of the problem. And what you'll see if you video yourself, even if you don't have a coach, but if you video yourself from kind of the back, from the back oblique, if you see your elbows come up as you're squatting up and they lift, and it shoves your palm of your hand into the barbell, so that a bunch of the load of the barbell is taken from between the wrist and the elbow, that causes lots of problems, both in the elbow and in the shoulder. And so that can cause lots of problems. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to make the pressure of the bar light in the hands and heavy on the back, where you just feel the weight of the bar on the back, and the fingers are just holding it in place and keeping it from rolling down. They're not really pushing very hard on the barbell itself. That's one of the things we want to, and what push they have should be really compression. So the narrowest grip we can get and keeping our elbows down towards our ribs are all helpful. But if we have to, especially for big old guys, they have to take a wide grip and their elbows come up. This guy's not that big, so he shouldn't have to do that. But that wide grip and their elbows come up, it will often just put way too much. I think it's really torsion on the arms there. So,
yep, the squat makes it mad, and then the bench press or the chin exposes it.
Matter.
Be careful. Be careful. Sorry about that, man. That is an uncomfortable deal.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody likes that. Doug says, guys, love the podcast. Thank you. I have a couple of questions, though. I couldn't figure out what weight to start with, so I jumped more than 5 pounds the first couple of times. Is that okay? Absolutely.
Yeah, fine.
What should I do for the warm-up?
You paused. I thought you were going to answer it.
No, I'm throwing that to you, Matt Reynolds.
Well, we do have an entire podcast on this, and we have an entire YouTube video on this. So we warm up with the empty bar on all the lifts except for the deadlift. We warm up usually with the empty bar for sets of 5, couple sets of 5, throw a little weight on, do another set of 5, throw a little weight on, do a set of 3, throw a little weight on, do a set of 2, somewhere in there, and then do your work sets. So what we do is we sort of try to get generally evenly spaced jumps, approximately 3 weighted warm-up sets going into your work set. So 1 or 2 empty bar sets, 3 weighted sets. And here's the deal. When I say generally evenly spaced, what I mean is we generally use the 45s, the 25s, and the 10s, and we don't touch the 5s, 2.5s, or fractional plates on the warm-ups because they're just a pain in the ass. And the warm-up is a warm-up. That's the point. And so if you jump on a squat or deadlift, if you jump 50 pounds between one set and you jump 30 or 35 pounds between another set, it ain't that big of a deal.
Yeah, so if you're going to squat 135 today, you're going to start at 45 with the bar, and if you're like me and you've got 15-pound bumper plates, you can just make a few 30-pound jumps and get up there to your 135 and then do your work. So just pick an increment that's, lets you do 4 or 5 warm-up sets without getting a bunch of crazy plates out. There's an app out there that'll help you calculate your warm-ups, and it'll have you putting on like 2.5-pound plates and 1.25-pound plates because
we're not a fan.
Because it does perfect math. Well, we don't need perfect math, You want to do enough warm-ups that you're moving right, and then do enough of them that you're getting used to the heavier weight on your back so that the work sets aren't shocking to you.
Yeah, if you're going to go up to 135, the easy thing to do there, you're going to start at 45 pounds empty bar. You're going to go to 135, so you gotta go up about 100 pounds.
Yep.
And you want 3 weighted sets between that. You're going to go up 30, 35 pounds per set and get there.
I just go up 30, go 45, 75, 105, 135.
Easy.
There you go.
Done and done.
So early on in your LP, you're not going to actually probably going to do a lot of warm-up sets. But later on, when you squat 305 or 405 or 495, you might end up doing some more. And the jumps will be bigger. Doug has one more question.
Yes, Doug.
This is a really good one.
You look like a Doug now with that mustache, by the way.
How dare you?
You look more like a Doug than a Scott.
I look more like me than I have ever.
I would agree, but you look less like a Scott.
Huh.
And more what? Actually, you know what? Your first name is William. You look more like a William.
Excellent.
That mustache is very William-esque.
Thank you.
Not so much Scott. Scott feels a little bit...
feels real good.
All right.
Doug says, what is the red pill and no sleepover bit you guys were talking about? I assume it's off topic, but I'm curious.
It's the red pill. The red pill is your kids are going to get raped if you let them have sleepovers.
Yeah, the red pill. You've seen The Matrix, Doug.
Yes.
You can take the blue pill and stay asleep.
Oh, do you think he's actually doesn't understand the concept of the red pill versus the blue pill?
Well, I don't know, but we're going to bring it all back. We're going to tie a knot in it here for you. So you can take the blue pill and just stay right where you are. But if you take the red pill, you can see everything as it truly is. And you get to step out of the matrix.
And by the way, I don't always take the red pill in life. Occasionally, I know that I'm taking the blue pill, and I'm okay with it.
You guys wouldn't believe the number of times I put Matt in a headlock, and I put the red pill in a piece of bread like I'm trying to worm a dog.
I just won't
and
eat
he
it.
keeps spitting it
And I know
out.
it's there, and I know it's true, but I just don't want to. I just would rather just be happy with what I know about life right now.
Right.
And so the red pill is
the red pill. Things
the
aren't
percentage chance that you let kids stay over somewhere, especially that's not at your mom and dad's house, at grandma and grandpa's house. And by the way, they might get sexually abused by grandma and grandpa. That happens too.
You'll
right?
probably know if that's the case.
But you would have some insider info on that. And it's serious. It's not a joke. We don't let our kids stay the night at people who aren't immediate family members that we don't incredibly trust. And we don't let strangers stay at our house because I own a business. I'm a 41-year-old man. I don't need a 14-year-old girl saying that. Here's the deal. Here, I think I can't remember if I told this story on the podcast or not. I have a library that's got a bunch of whiskey that's right next to my room. In that library is a refrigerator, and there's beer. It's a beverage fridge. But there's a bunch of water in there. I sleep naked, as all men should, right? I assume you sleep naked? You sleep naked?
I never sleep, Matt.
Well, do you go to bed with Charity naked?
I lay there.
Or do you wear? And I wake up in the night, and I'm thirsty, and I go walking into my own library in my own house, buck-ass naked, and I get a drink. I get a bottle of water. I don't need a 14-year-old girl going in there at the same time and then being like, oh, Mr. Reynolds exposed himself to me. And I was like, bro, it's 2 a.m. I was going to get a bottle of water. What are you doing in my library?
Yeah, except the library has a sign over the door that says Uncle Touchy's Puzzle Parlor.
No, it does not. That's not what it says. It's not what it says. So bad.
No, about 1/3 of people in North America have been inappropriately exposed to sexual stimulus in one way or another. And so
I'd be interested in the percentage, by the way, Scott, of how many of those actually occurred in a sleepover, not at their house. Now, I realize that the vast majority of those are occurring by family member sleepovers, like you're staying at your cousin's house and it's, your Uncle Jerry or whatever. But it's
sorry, Jer.
I just don't, man. Nope. We're not gonna do sleepovers. Nope.
Yeah, there are many red pills because so many things in our lives aren't as they are popularly depicted. Because it's not cool to put some of those things on the news. Like nobody wants to watch a news story about, hey, listen, there's 6 kids over your house. 2 of them have already been screwed with.
That's right.
That's
no. My daughter asked the other day if she could go to the mall. She could go to the mall with a couple girls she knew from church, and I knew that they had both been legit sexually assaulted by non-family members already. And I was like, nah.
Oh, Reynolds is punishing the victims.
No, it's not. I get it. It's just, and if they want to, it's not that I'm not going to let my daughter hang out with those kids, but it's when 3 girls hang out alone, one of which who has not gone through that, 2 of which has, there's going to be questions. I'm sure my daughter's just curious, and she's like, I'm so sorry this happened or whatever. And they start talking. She's like, what was it like? And then you get details. No. Nope. By the way, today, Scott, the Light Phone 2 came in for my 14-year-old. And we converted her from an iPhone 11, the best iPhone there is, to the Light Phone 2. She is ecstatic about it. She's not ecstatic about it. She's so angry. But that is her phone. She's 14, and that will be her phone until she's 18. And at 18, she will most likely get her iPhone back when she moves out of the house.
I'm sure there's a backstory.
It's not. I mean, it's not insane stuff, man. It's not. Honestly, it's not like it. Really, it's not like she was into all sorts of stuff she shouldn't be. It's an addiction.
Sure.
Her phone is an addiction. That's really the main problem. Like, were there some fringy things on there that I was like, I'm not really happy about that. Like, of course there was, but ultimately it's the time. It's the time. There was a day. I don't care if my family listens to this podcast now. My 14-year-old is best friends with my sister's twin girls, and they're a year younger than my daughter, and they're smart and they're awesome. They're great kids.
But
The other day, I was like, "What, Kaylin? Why aren't you doing your homework?" You know, she's homeschooled. I'm like, "Why can't I get your work done?" And then the next day, I grabbed her phone. I was like, "Can I see your phone? And can you just? I'm not even going to look through it. Can you just show me your call history from yesterday? I just want to see how much you were on your phone." She talked to one of her cousins that day for 6 hours and 40 minutes on the phone. I was like, listen, these kids, they literally turn the phone on and then they do stuff like they put on makeup and they just stay on the phone the whole time. Like they're just, and sometimes they talk to each other and sometimes they don't, but there's just always another person on the phone. I was like, nope.
Yep.
Nope. Light Phone 2, here we go. By the way, Light Phone 2, you need to sponsor this podcast. We'll do a fantastic commercial for you. There's Scott's.
So good. So good.
Brett McKay has one, and now Kaylin Reynolds has one.
Tyson says, background. He says, background. I'm in my first deload week since signing on with BLOC. Cameron has programmed the 1x3 at 410 deadlift and 1x4 at 262.5 bench as a deload. He said it's clearly less stress than last week due to the volume tonnage reduction, and it's nice to have the break. However, as I think about today's workout, I do not feel as though it is 50% as stressful as last week in the deadlift and 25.24% as stressful in the bench. But he already gave the numbers what he did the week before.
Right.
So
he's basing those on the tonnage reduction, I assume.
Yeah. It says, of course, there is some built-up fatigue, which makes the RPE feel higher, but all those warm-up sets must count for something. For instance, blah, blah, blah. Here's my question. Has anyone ever included warm-up weights using percentage of total tonnage to account for training?
Nope.
To track training stress and volume? If so, do you as coaches ever look at warm-up patterns to troubleshoot when a lifter stalls out?
Yes.
He says, I'm not having any questions, but as a question I couldn't really find a clear answer to. Care to pontificate? Feel free to shit on this question if you'd like, because I'll listen to it at half speed and laugh my ass off.
It will sound drunk. No, I don't want to answer for both of us, but I would imagine your answer is the same. No, I'm never going to count warm-up sets as part of the work because warm-up sets are there to just warm you up. That's the goal. If they're wearing you out and they're taking weight off the platform for your work sets, then you did them wrong. However, there are times when I recognize that my clients are doing that. And I go, hey, can you just post what your warm-ups were? Mm-hmm. And they post, and I go, you did 11 warm-up sets, man.
Yeah, novices do 11.
That was not okay, right? And so, yeah, I think they get in a habit of, I know I told this story once on the podcast of my grandma Shirley, who always put $2 of gas in her car. And then one day she was like, Lynn Edward, to my grandpa, Lynn Edward, I think there's something wrong with the car. It's not getting as good a gas mileage as it used to. And he was like, Shirley, what are you doing? And she's like, well, every Wednesday I put $2 of gas in it. He's like, it's 1993.
Can't do that.
It doesn't. It's not the same as it was in 1950. And so I think a lot of these guys, they do like 20-pound jumps, 20-pound warm-up jumps, but their squats go up 120 pounds, so they add 5 sets of warm-ups to it.
Right.
Like, no, you're doing it wrong. So we don't count warm-ups, but
so what
if
about
you're doing
this?
more than 3, 4, 5 warm-ups, that's too many warm-ups.
You would count back off sets as tonnage. Well, why not just set why not count the lead up stuff as tonnage too?
Yeah, why not count the walk up the stairs as part of the tonnage?
Yeah, we got to
that I do. Like you got to have a standard somewhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, it's really not a bad question.
No.
But if you feel like what you're doing in your warm ups is wearing you out to the point that you're doing less weight on the work sets, then you're doing too much for the warm up. That's the simple answer.
Yeah. And boy, that sure happens a lot in the novices. It happens to me.
It happens to me.
About one out of every 5 or 6 novices I deal with, something goes wrong. I'm like, what are you doing? And 11 warm up sets, like you say, 8 warm up sets.
I'll do it to myself on bench press sometimes because I do more reps because of my torn pecs, and sometimes I just do too many reps at 225 or 275 or something. And I get to my work set and I'm like, bah, that was dumb. I did too much on the warm up stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't have it as often, but I have certainly had. I know you've had to have the same thing too on online coaching where somebody's like, they just on their deadlift, they just load up whatever their deadlift work set is, and they don't warm up at all. David Kirkham did that.
David Kirkham's just like pulls
yeah.
385.
Yeah, right. And so that, they start at 205. And they shouldn't do it at 205, but at 205 it's not that egregious. And then they get their deadlift up to like 415. Like, man, it's just so hard. I don't know what's going on. I was like, well, what were your warm-ups? And they're like, oh, because I had squatted, I felt like I was already warmed up, so I went ahead and just loaded the bar up to 415 and just started there. I've never done that in my whole life. And I've never done. People have these weird stories about like just getting in a bet or getting drunk or something and like pulling a max effort deadlift. Like, I have never done that in my life. I'm so scared of tearing a bicep or doing something. I've never done that.
If I've already squatted during the day, I will start my deadlift warm up at 225.
Yeah.
But if I start my deadlift's the first thing of the day, I started at 135.
Yeah.
Not David Kirkham, who's like 41 years older than me. He's like, yeah, I'll just go to 385.
Yeah.
He's a madman.
That's crazy.
Christian says, hey guys, love the podcast. Keep up the great content. My question is regards to implementing LP for someone that is not a novice. I've been training for years, but most recently I've been running a variant of 531 for about 6 months. On the plus sets, I'm getting big PRs every session. This leads me to believe I'm leaving some tonnage on the table and should be progressing much faster than the 5 to 10 pounds per month on 531. I've decided to run some LP and see how far this goes. For my starting weights, I've backed off my current training maxes about 25%. 130-pound overhead press, 205 bench press, 315 squat, 365 deadlift. Is there anything different that we would do? How soon would we add chins rows? And he also wants to know about transitioning into intermediate stuff. We have done a roughly 67 hours of talk about how to transition into intermediate work.
Yeah, we got the transition part.
Yeah, it's in there, dude. It's in there. Go listen to the MED Masterclass series, the MED Toolbox series, I think we have one called...
Let's tease out that Masterclass is almost done, and then we're going to do an episode that you did in your academy that's like the MED prequel.
Yeah, I've actually got three.
Prequel class.
I've actually got 3 of those now.
The prequels, the MED prequels.
Yeah, so...
we should name them like Star Wars type names. We should.
Yeah, so there's a prequel one, and then, Reynolds rules. Do you know Reynolds laws of programming?
Are you asking me or
I'm asking you?
Of course I do.
What are they?
Simplicity over complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Intensity over volume.
Mm-hmm.
And economy over whatever isn't economical. So what is it?
Excess.
There we go.
And then there's a fourth one that everybody just knows, and it ain't yours, which is the stress has to always go up.
Always. That's progressive overload.
Yeah.
That was invented by somebody before Wader, but Weider was the guy that made that sort of popular.
And then I've got a 5-step troubleshooting. I got a 5-step process I teach in my people where they identify a problem, they troubleshoot the root cause of the problem, they select tools from the toolbox, they they select a way to deploy the tool, and then devise a test to see if it worked to institute their MED programming steps. So I've got
sort of like a scientific method, but for programming.
Yeah, got about 5 hours of that probably total that we may opt to run. Don't know.
Yeah. When you are an intermediate or well past a novice, and you go back and do LP, and there's lots of reasons for doing that. We've done podcasts on that too. I've actually had our good friend Father John Floater, Padre, do LP a handful of times because he will, about once a year, that guy, he's a Catholic priest. He goes on a mission trip somewhere, and he can't train. He comes back from the mission trip, he does LP. And we start conservative, and we just take bigger jumps. Rather than taking 5-pound jumps, we start with 20-pound jumps, and then we go to 10-pound jumps. And we'll go to 5-pound jumps on the upper body lifts after a couple weeks, but we really never go to 5-pound jumps on the lower body lifts. We just keep doing 10-pound jumps until it gets real slow, and then I go back, I transition him MED style into like the next thing, and so that's what you do. By the way, I do want to go back and address this guy. He may be right, and he may be wrong, but if you're doing a 531 type program, which is really a 3-week program with a deload, so potentially a month-long program, and you're hitting PRs on the plus set, so that the last set of those 531, every workout of 531 is sort of an AMRAP set. Mm-hmm. It's an AMRAP set at I think it's like 75%, 85%, and 95%, week 1, week 2, and week 3, if I remember correctly. And if you're hitting PRs on that every single time you go through it, there's a part of me that would just be like, dude, just stay on that till you
that's what I was thinking.
Like PRs are PRs. Like people get greedy with PRs. Like, man, I don't know, I should make PRs a little faster. Like, I wouldn't take an absolute beginner and put them on 5-3-1. Like that's not a beginner program. But at the same time, if you're smack in the middle of it, I think people have more of a problem program hopping than they do, worried about, well, I'm making 10-pound progress a month right now. And if I went to LP, I could go to 20-pound progress per month. Like maybe, whatever.
Just
PRs, PR.
Yeah.
PRs are the goal, man. If you're making PRs, I wouldn't change much until the PRs start to slow down.
Yeah, and you think, say you're leaving some tonnage on the table and could be progressing faster. Who cares?
Doesn't matter right now.
Doesn't matter. But if you do want to go run a little LP, you said backing off 25%. That's probably a little more than I would have, but that's okay. You'll run it up and you'll be where you need to be soon enough. You say, how would we recommend adding chins and rows? I just have you chin and row every other session. Chin this one, row that one, chin that one.
From the very beginning.
Because you're not a rank novice, so I'd go ahead and have you do that. And then you can listen to show, I think it's 203, 208, something like that. It's about programming for dummies, what to do when LP stops working, and that will tell you exactly how to get yourself out of LP and into some sort of intermediate programming.
By the way, we're coming up on episode 300. What are we going to do for that?
Yeah, probably nothing.
We should do it like in a sweat lodge, like naked.
And we'll screw up our equipment.
With the Tascam, with the with the portable, and see how it goes. That could be fun. You and I have done some all dude spas before.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's before you had that Uncle Fester eye, though.
That's true. You wouldn't get in a hot tub with this guy right now.
No, he got that Legionnaire's eye or whatever that is. Mark says, I'm living on Kauai, and there are no liquor stores. Well, fucking move.
I bet I know this guy. I wonder if this is the guy that met Darren Deaton. Kauai's a great place.
He says he's traveled from Fort Wayne, Indiana, all the way down to Jupiter, Florida, and he's never been able to find anything any good, pretty much. He says he's been given some recommendations other than the Weller and Gold Granddad and Willett and Eagle Rare and McKenna recommendations we've made. Hancock Single Barrel President's Reserve. What do you think?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
I don't even heard of it.
I've had the Jefferson's Single Barrel President's Reserve, which is, it's all right.
Actually, I love it, and you don't love it.
It costs too much.
Well, it's about half Stitzel-Weller juice. It's one of the few things out there that still has Stitzel-Weller in it.
It costs too much.
I wish anything that I was inside cost more money. Like if you're Stitzel-Weller, like anything you're in is expensive.
Well, that's the case for me.
I would have some gym socks that are worth a lot of money.
Old Forester birthday bourbon.
Did you not laugh at that? Old Forester birthday bourbon is really good. That's really good shit.
I've never had it.
It's excellent. Anything Old Forester is good. Old Forester doesn't make bad stuff. Old Forester to me is like Four Roses. Everything they make is high quality. It's good. Single barrel's good. That 1920 is amazing. 1910 is what they're popular for right now. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a little tip. 20 is better.
Yeah, it is.
It's the high proof. It's good. Get that thing.
Stay away from their 90 proof and so on.
Yeah,
it's not that it's bad, but just stay away from it. You get that bond stuff and higher.
How often at this point do you buy a bottle of anything that's under bottled in bond?
Not
under 100.
Not unless I just do it for just on a lark. It's curiosity.
It's really rare for me. Yeah. I just don't.
Kentucky Spirit Single Barrel. Don't know a thing about it.
That's supposed to be really good, but I haven't had it.
Yeah, I haven't had it.
No dice.
I've never seen birthday bourbon on the shelf. If I ever did,
I have never seen birthday bourbon on the shelf. You're in Kauai. Dude, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get online at like a TotalWine.com, one of these places who will ship an online shipper, and you're going to have it shipped to you in Kauai, and it's going to cost you some money. But you live in Kauai, so everything's expensive anyway. I was just there. 4 ounces of fish and rice and veggies for a family of 4 is $260. So you're just going to have to spend some money on some whiskey.
The whole thing's gross. But
by the way, in Maui, which is on the opposite end of Kauai, I think if I remember right, Kauai is the furthest most western island. But I bought Lagavulin again for $48 for a bottle of Lagavulin at Costco. Lagavulin 16 for $48 at Costco. So what you need to do is, man, is just take a trip to Costco and buy. You guys are missing out. Here's the deal: Costco and Sam's, they're not going to have stuff that is hard to find allocated whiskey. But you are not going to find better deals on whiskey than those two places. Yeah. You want to buy cheap, good, what you can find all the time whiskey, that Maker's Mark 46 for $27. That's where you go.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Lad says he's 6'5" and 230 pounds. He's gained 20 pounds since starting. He says, I'm currently on a 4-day split with a squat 5-rep max at 265. I'm struggling to get my squat numbers up.
He weighs what? 240?
Uh-huh.
No,
he said, I had a form check in person with the starting strength coach here in Kingwood. Well, that must be Mr. Baker.
That's Andy.
Yeah, connect me.
Who's a good coach.
He says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I've heard you guys mention incorporating box squats into a routine, into reinforce form with tall, lanky lifters.
How tall is he? What did he say?
He's 6'5" and 230.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, man, that's tall and lanky.
Lad. His name's
What's
Lad.
his deadlift? Does he say what his deadlift is?
No, he doesn't. It better be 405.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Dude, you're so thin for 6'5". Your main problem isn't box squats. It's not programming. It's just your leverages suck.
Yeah.
At 6'5" and 230. That's just, no.
We got a guy who's a good friend of ours, who's a block client, who is an ex All-Pro NFL offensive lineman. He was like, 310 pounds, and I mean All-Pro, real good player. He's just been retired a few years. He's like our age or even a couple years younger than us. And he dropped a bunch of weight because, of course, he'd been force-fed his whole life. He's 6'5". He's 245 now. And when he came to us, I think he was like 200, maybe 195. And he's put on like 45 pounds. And he looks, that guy's like, he doesn't look like an offensive lineman. He looks like an NFL tight end. He looks like an NBA, like a jacked NBA player. 230 and 6'5". That's like 170 and 6'0".
Yeah.
It really kind of is.
I've got a 6'7" guy that's walking around about 295.
And he's lanky.
And he still looks like a beanpole on film.
Yeah.
By the way, squad 505 for 4 or 5 the other day.
Dude. For 6'7", a 500-pound squat is ridiculous.
He's so freaking strong.
You should actually do the math on the work. You should have him like set a set a little marker
the range
on his
of motion.
squat rack, and just actually like see if he can measure from like where the bar is at where he's standing up at the top and where the bar lines up, like what hole it lines up with on the squat rack in the bottom. And you should do the math and report back the work that the guy's doing
right. It's
on a squat workout.
That bar moves 40 inches or something like that, probably.
It's crazy.
And he's pulling, he can pull 650 for it just with the flu at this point.
Yeah.
He's 2 inches taller than you, Lad, and 65 pounds heavier or something like that. And he's doing very, very well. And he started at about 240 probably, and he slowly gained weight. I have a client who's 6'5", and he started a little bit fluffy, and his weight continues to come down. But with him at 325 or something like that, probably, his LP ended just shy of 405.
Yeah.
So he's a very talented squatter, and he's built for it. His proportions are right, but you're very, very light. I don't know.
So let's give some practical. Obviously, the most practical thing for him is he needs to gain a little weight. As tall as he is, again, please, if you're listening to this and you weigh 230 and you're 5'9", we're not talking to you.
Right.
We're talking to this guy who's 6'5", and he weighs 230. Box squats could be a valuable supplemental lift for you, sir, once you squat 315 for reps.
Right.
But at 260, you're not ready for supplemental lifts. This is the hard thing about this programming talk, where people want to know, like, at what point am I don't think that your ability to recover on a workout by workout or week by week or month by month basis is the only thing that tells us really if you're a novice, intermediate, or advanced. I totally understand why those are
sure.
That's sort of like the standard and why it's there. But at some point, if you are a normal aged male, you're not, say, over 65 or something, and you're squatting body weight around your body weight, you're just not strong enough.
Yeah.
Now, for these guys that are really tall, for your guy that weighs 290, 295, squatting 2x body weight at that height may never happen. But certainly shooting for like 1.5 is a place at 1.5x body weight is a pretty good standard to say, like, I'm pretty strong at that point when you can squat 1.5x your body weight. But 20 pounds over your body weight is just not, you're not strong.
And by the way, this cat that I was just talking about, he may pull he'll probably pull 800 if he just stays with it.
Yeah.
So the leverages tell the story. And, and you probably don't need to weigh 295 there, lad. Maybe you need to,
No.
let's get you to 250 and see what's up.
That's what
okay?
I was going to say. 250 would be awesome. 20 pounds make a huge difference. 250 and 6'5" would be, again, that's what this ex-NFL player, that's what he weighs. He weighs between 245 and 250. He looks great. He looks super athletic. Like, no one would look at him and be like, oh, that guy's a little too big. No. He just looks great at 6'5".
Gain a little weight, Bubba. Programming will not save your ass when you're that thin. A gentleman named Abel says, I wear a lot of polo-style shirts for work. Do you have plans on selling a polo-style shirt with only the light bulb logo? I think it's a clever design and a great Plateauing conversation starter for all things block. You have plans for that, Matt?
We have, I've actually had this question a lot. My first inclination would be,
no.
Really high-end polos are expensive, and it's sort of like retail is one of those things that you don't make any money off of. You just sort of like hope to break even. You end up giving some away to like good people or whatever. If this guy's a block client, I think we're going to do some more internal. If you want a polo, here's the design, pre-sale, order. Everybody gets them for close to cost, barely over cost. We don't make much money. So if you're a block client, you got a chance to get some of those options. I know that we just inked a deal with A7. I'll just tease it out a little bit. A7, and we've got some Barbell Logic A7 shirts getting ready to come out. I will not offer those to the public unless there's extras left over after the clients buy them. So we're only going to do an internal sale for the clients for those A7 block shirts. And if there's some left over, I might throw them up on the website real quick, but otherwise, no. So good question on the polo. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. If you'll email me and you want to get a personalized polo made and you're a block client, if you are a block client, you'll email me. I'll send you the logo and let you just make one for yourself. If you tell me you only make one,
there you
sell
go.
Any of them.
There you go. Let's see here. Paul says, subject, shrinky dink.
There we go. Cold water every time.
He says, hey guys, 5'6", 175. That ain't bad. 290 squat, 290 deadlift, 215 bench, 115 overhead press. Hey, pretty fair. Good job.
Okay.
He says, when I work out, my member all but disappears and sits perched up upon my balls. This can be seen in my
literally is what he's talking about.
Yeah. He says, this can be seen in profile from the outside of my shorts or sweats as a small bump. This is highly embarrassing, to say the least. He says,
Awesome question.
I think I know the why, as all of my blood is in the muscles being worked. Is there anything I can do, though? Increase the volume of blood in my body? Some Tibetan weight I can walk around with? Fluff in between sets? I think my deadlift is lacking because of my...
Fluff in between sets. So that's what I do.
And he says, I think my deadlift is lacking because of my short arms. Should I pull barefoot or still wear your lifting shoes?
Well, here's what we know. With your short arms, the thing that is not causing a problem is your little nubbin sticking out, because if the bar has to go over that, it's no big deal, right? So the question is, with those little short arms, do you even want a nice little semi to have to pull over? That might actually reduce your deadlift poundage.
Well, 5'6" guys, I mean, I know his arms probably aren't terribly long, but I don't find that the shoes, it's not like your hip is 70 inches off the ground like it is for Ladd or Kirk. I don't think the shoes are going to buy you a whole lot there. Feel free to kick them off if you want to, but as a public gym, I wouldn't do it. I'd just let my deadlift just suffer in that case. As to your dork,
let's talk about the nubbin. That's a more interesting. Let me ask you a personal question, Scott Hamburg.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed this on yourself? Be honest. Jesus knows.
Okay.
Are there times in your life, say like, cold tub in a spa or something,
right?
Where where the turtle goes inside the shell.
Okay.
And can you recognize other times, like cold water is obviously the one. Have you noticed that when you train? Have you noticed that when you're nervous? Come on.
It's mostly the cold, right? I mean,
I think I get it. I think I get it when I get nervous too.
yeah,
I don't feel like it's that way, but when I'm doing like a lot of public speaking and stuff, and I'm like talking, I pretend like I don't really have nerves, but I'm comfortable talking in front of people. It doesn't bother me at all.
Well, see, the high stress situations tend to make me a little tumescent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. There have been a few times that I've been public speaking or something, and kind of a high stress situation, and I go to the bathroom. I'm like, and then I have to go pee like normal. I go to the bathroom. I'm like, what's going on down here? Where is this thing? And it's just, I'm like, oh, it's so I don't know, man. I think your best option is just buy a cup and put a cup on, because that would create some artificial bulge.
I just wouldn't worry about it.
I don't worry about it. I don't care. When did you hit the age when you just didn't care?
I've never cared.
I was going to say, I feel like that was you your whole life. I definitely used to care, but I don't care anymore. Yeah, I think if you're over 35 and you still care, you probably need to go see Dr. Pewter and have some psychological
I've never cared.
What I like about those European guys that wear the Speedos and they're fat and gross,
Right?
is they don't have any F's to give.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you and I we vacationed together in Cancun with our wives, not just you and me. and we turned out different Speedos every day. You had a Speedo for every day of the week. And we were like, we don't care at all. Like, what are we doing, man? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care.
Nope.
I've never been self-conscious about that stuff. I just don't care. I know I'm a good lover. I'm always satisfied. That's how I know.
You're a good lover.
And I've just never worried about those things.
Yeah. There you go, man.
Here, we got one more from Dan. This is interesting as hell. Maybe. He says, on secret fraternities.
All right.
Did you listen to the Q&A from this morning?
The first half I listened to in the shower this morning. I haven't listened to the rest of it.
Yeah, not a fan. He says,
I've listened to every episode lately.
That's good.
I'll listen to it. Yeah.
That's good. He says he went to the gym and he saw a guy. A guy saw him and says, wow, another guy's low bar squatting to depth for sets of 5. It must be part of the tribe. So he's been training in some public gyms, and he says there's a secret fraternity out there. He says, listen to this. I'm grateful to Scott for initiating a half-hour call with me over 2 years ago, giving me some great advice, encouraging me, and softly convincing me to become a BLOC client. I am grateful for the coach Matt paired me with, Adam Laritzen, who's my wingman and fellow meme lord. He's helped me realize more gains than I ever thought I could in these past 2 years. I'm looking forward to more in the future. I'm grateful for experiencing all the benefits you advertise, such as strength, confidence, work ethic, toughness, in addition to lower blood pressure, smaller waist, more attractive physique. And my wife also thanks you. There you go. It's awfully nice. Thanks, Dan.
It's fun to hear someone say that you softly convince them.
Oh, Matt.
I didn't know you had it in you to softly convince anybody.
Hey, listen.
I thought you only shoved red pills down people's throats.
In the early days,
yeah,
I'm very gentle.
I know. I know that I didn't know you in the very early days, but when I started to know you a long time ago, which has been damn near 10 years ago, you were not the same guy you are now.
Yeah, I am.
On the inside, you were. On
There's
the inside,
nothing different.
Your soul was the same.
Nothing different. There's another question and answer episode. There's 54 minutes of that. If that ain't enough, I don't know what to tell you. Go to questions@barbell-logic.com. Hey, the stream of questions has slowed lately.
Has it?
It has. These people.
I think I've been reading more of them, and maybe you're not seeing them come in.
No, it's kind of slowed down.
By the way, we enjoy questions about things like nubbins and nipples. So more of those are fine. We're happy to answer those. We ain't got nothing to hide. We're transparent.
Your training questions, your business questions, your book questions, your bourbon questions, your child rearing questions,
your anatomy questions,
anatomy, any of those things, send those to questions@barbell-logic.com, and we'll answer those on a future show. And meanwhile, go and leave a review. Let's go leave them at Stitcher today. Let's go do that. That's where they need to go.
By the way, let me just say, honestly, guys, the reviews have been awesome lately. We're really thankful for that. Like, the really nice things about the MED masterclass and just the discussions that Scott and I have on a daily basis. We're just trying to bring value to you all the time, and it really is cool to read that stuff. And you haters, just stay away, and everybody else, just give us those 5-star.
Yeah, the haters, just go listen to something else.
By the way, our numbers are better in the last couple weeks than I think they've ever been over the last couple weeks or so. So tell a friend, bump up those numbers for us, and help us climb the charts, man. More people need to hear this stuff.
Talk to you guys on Monday. Feels real good.